Welcome back, students. We're going to continue working with our index HTML here because I'm going to teach you a couple more things here as we start really getting our teeth into web design. So previously we did talk about things such as headers. And so I want to do a couple more things with headers and also a little bit more with stylizing our text such as paragraphs here. So I'm going to right now first focus on headings. Now, if you recall before, I said that there's a total of 8 heading sizes, H1, H2, H3, H4, so on. What I want to do today is show you the difference between these different heading sizes. So I'm going to go in here, hit enter after H1, and I'm going to put H2, and I'm going to call this my second heading. Right? And you can see that H2 is indeed smaller than H1. If I go ahead and add in a H3 tag and say my third heading, you can see that it is also even more progressively smaller. So it's still a heading, but it just gets smaller. Now, in case you're not sure, well, what's the difference between a heading and a paragraph ultimately, because you notice that headings are getting smaller. If you think about an old school newspaper, all right, and if you pick up the newspaper, it's, that heading that's on a newspaper, the top of the article. What is it standing out for you? Or if you go to a web page and you're reading an article and you pick up your tablet or your smartphone and you look at it, it has right there at the top page, what is it trying to catch you? What's that headline that it's got for you? That is ultimately what a header is for. It's to capture attention, to stand out, to really help direct you. What is this supposed to be about? And then the paragraphs is actually what's written. So let's go back and look at our notes real quick here. We're going to go ahead and start one for exercise 2, because we know we're going to have a couple terms in here to define. So exercise 2, all right. And I'm not going to go ahead and redefine heading because I think we're pretty good on what a heading is. However, there is another tag I'm going to introduce today, which is the HR tag. Okay, and HR stands for horizontal rule. Okay. So when I'm doing a horizontal rule, right, let's just insert one between H1 and H2 so I can show you what it does. So I'm going to do HR, and you can see it adds a line. Now, one thing that you'll notice is unique about HR compared to some of the other tags that are in here. When I made an HR tag, you'll notice that Dreamweaver did not make a /HR. All right, see H1 and H1? These are identical, except this has a slash in here. And so that's going to lead us into our next term definition I want to talk about, which is that of a opening tag and a closing tag. So an opening tag is the start of an HTML element, and then a closing tag is the end of a HTML element, which is usually preceded by a slash. So that's how you know which one's which. All right, openings at the start, closing at the end. If you ever start having trouble, make sure that everything's properly closed. All right, so HR is one of those unique tags that doesn't need a closing tag. You can just put HR and it'll do the rest. So for example, if I want to add one here between H2 and H3, I can just put HR, done. Same thing if I want to separate heading 3 from the paragraph, boom, HR, I'm done. Right. Nothing really too complicated. The other one that I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the break tag. So in here I have my first paragraph. Let's just add in a text that says my second paragraph. Now, even though I know it's not technically a full paragraph in length because it's really just one sentence, for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to say that those are 2 separate paragraphs. Now, right now, they are on one line. But if you know anything about paragraphs, typically one paragraph's on one line, then the next one starts the next line. So if I hit enter here, it does nothing over here. I can save my document, I can refresh it, nothing is going to happen. So what I want to do instead is use what is known as a break tag. So that is just going to be BR. And you can see that it will push that down. So the break tag this is the break tag. All right, which is simply just used to indent a paragraph, or not indent, excuse me, but to create a new paragraph without having to create like a new paragraph tag or anything like that. So this is how we do a line break. All right, that's ultimately what it's really for, is for a line break, not necessarily a paragraph break. We call it a line break, but you can just do BR. And just like HR, it has no need for a closing tag. Now, I want to do a little bit of stylistic things here today as well, to kind of show you some of the other things that we can do with HTML. So in here, let's look at my first paragraph. So the first thing I want to do is maybe make first italicized. Well, to do italicized, it's just a bracket with an I. Now you see, when I do that, Dreamweaver automatically adds the closing one. So I will have to go through and just move first, and I can just drag that in between the two, or I could retype it. So I could just also have gone through here and just deleted it and typed first. And you'll notice that the word first is now italicized. So we can add in another HTML element, and we can add in that of the italicized tag. So this is for italics. Okay. Similarly, we also have one for bold, which is B, and that is bold. If I want to try underline, and let's just test those out. All right, let's do second paragraph here. Let's make that one underline. All right, and I'm going to this time delete the word second and put it right here, second. And you can see it has underlined it. So it's just some basic bold, italic, underline. Now, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add a totally new paragraph element. Right? So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to do a totally new paragraph element because I can do that. And in here, I'm going to say this sentence has a subscript. This sentence has a superscript. And so I want to add a sub and a superscript around these. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do a subscript, it's just sub. And I'm just going to move this so it's after the word subscript. And for a superscript, it's just sub. And save. And you can see now I have my first heading, my second heading, my third heading. I have my first paragraph with an italicized, my second paragraph with an underline. I have the sentence as a subscript, and the sentence as a superscript. So let's add those other ones in quick here. So I have sub, which is to subscript, and I have superscript, which is just sup. So superscript. It looks like that's just running off the page there just a little bit, so I'm actually going to just grab these two here. And this will go to move slide. So sup is for superscript. All right. So I think that's a kind of a good spot there, except for one final thing which I want to kind of introduce today. I know this seems like a lot that I've been kind of throwing at you in one little lesson, but the last thing I want to introduce today is what's known as a comment. So I want to break this up a little bit. So maybe after my heading tags here, I want to put a comment in. Now, what a comment is it is simply just going to be a line of code that is only visible to the coder and not to the end user. Which means if I just load the web page without like trying to inspect element or anything like that, I'm not going to see it. Okay. Additionally, this is used for primarily usually one of two things. Right. So it's usually used for authorship. So kind of determined to, who wrote this, blah, 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 that sort of thing. It's also used for things such as debugging purposes. Also used for really helping to section code. It's like this is a header, this is my paragraph, my body, that sort of thing. Helps to section off. It doesn't actually section off, so I guess a better idea might be to label sections of code. And to identify what those codes do. So the purpose of it. So let's go ahead and add an HTML comment right here after our headings. So to do an HTML comment, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my bracket like I have done with every other HTML element. I'm going to make an exclamation point, followed by 2 dashes. And you can see immediately something has happened to my code. Everything went sideways. All right? It's because you created a comment. And when you comment something, it prevents it from being accessible by the program. All right, so in here, I'm just going to write my first comment. And I want to close that comment, which I simply do by 2 dashes, followed by another bracket. All right, and you can see there's my first comment right there. So let's save it. And let's go ahead and see if this comment will actually show up. Now you see it's not here in live view. Let's go ahead and see that here in my introduction thing. Boom. So here's my headings. Heading size 1, size 2, size 3. Here's my paragraph stuff. Here's the subscript and superscript. Here's my link. The comment I know should be right here. And if I go ahead and choose to inspect element and open up body, and then right here before my paragraphs, you'll see is my first comment. So it is still part of that web page. It's just that to the ultimate end user, when I look at this web page, it's not something that I would see. All right. That's going to kind of conclude where we're at for now, folks. Again, we're going to have some exercises to follow this, but that's going to be it for now. Until next time.